Okay, moving on to got it, number 2. We have more we have to do with completing the square. You should notice that this does not factor. Since it doesn't factor, you guys are going to have to use the completing the square. Step 1, follow your steps from above. So take 15 over. So x squared plus 9x equals negative 15. Step 2, take 1/2 of the x term. Well, that is 1/2 of 9 is 9 over 2. Step 3, you can put that in parentheses. Step 3, square that. So we're going to have to do 9 over 2, and we'll have to square it. So we get 81 over 4. Step 4, add that number to both sides to keep things balanced. So x squared plus 9x plus 81 over 4 equals negative 15 plus 81 over 4. Step 5. Step 5, you need to factor and combine. Remember, step 2 can be very helpful for you here. So we're going to do x plus 9 over 2, the quantity squared. Again, if you don't understand, I need you to FOIL this stuff together and prove that you get x squared plus 9x plus 81 over 4 equals, now negative 15 plus 81 over 4 equals 21 over 4. Watch carefully to the next step. Step 6 is where you take the square root. Well, this square root is just x plus 9 over 2. Over here you get plus and minus the square root of 21. Now watch carefully. Over 2. Now why would you get a 2 on the bottom? It's because the square root of 4 is 2. You might want to make a note of that. The square root of 4 is 2. That's how I got the 2 on the bottom. Step 7. Step 7 from above says add or subtract your constant. Well, my constant is 9 over 2. So I have to subtract 9 over 2 from both sides. So I get x equals a negative 9 over 2 when you subtract it, plus and minus the square root of 21 over 2. Let's get a decimal. That's negative 9 over 2 plus the square root of 21 over 2. So my first answer is negative 2.21. Now let's do the subtraction. Negative 9 over 2 minus the square root of 21. Negative 9 over 2 minus the square root of 21 over 2. Negative 6.79. These are the two answers that are considered what we call your roots. In part B it says, could you use factoring to solve A? The answer is no, because the numbers don't work. In the next section you need to learn what to do if you need to find the vertex and the other things for a graph. How do I use completing the square to help? Well, I'm so glad you asked. You are going to learn a new form, and this form is called Vertex Form. You have learned standard form. Now you will learn vertex form. In this form, the vertex is super easy to find. You don't have to do the negative b over 2a. Here is vertex form, okay? That is vertex form. Now here's how easy it is to find your vertex. It's simply HK. So you see how it's a minus h here? It's opposite of what you see here. And see how it's a plus k here? This is the x value. It's what you see here. And that's the y value of your vertex. Take a look at problem 3. Follow my steps real carefully, and these are going to be some new steps. It says find the vertex by completing the square. Alright, step number 1. Move constant over. Okay? So we're going to do, or excuse me, not move constant. Let's say, instead of say move constant over, move constant for more room. Okay, so we're going to do this. Y equals x squared plus 6x, leave a spot, plus 8, leave a spot. Step 2. Take half of the middle term, which is 6. So that's like 6 over 2, which is 3. Step 3, square that answer. Step 4. Okay, here's where step 4 gets a little difficult. You will add 9 to 6x, but subtract 9 from 8 to keep the balance. Okay, so it's going to be y equals x squared plus 6x plus 9 plus 8 minus 9. And this keeps my balance. Step 5, you are now going to factor. So you get y equals x plus 3 squared, and that came from these 3 terms in a box, minus 1, and that came from these 2 items in this box. This is now in vertex form. Note please that again for step 5 we did use step 2 to help us. Okay, it helped us figure out what goes in the middle there. And your vertex is pretty easy. It's opposite of this, so -3, and what you see on the outside, -1. You did not have to do negative b over 2a. But just so you know, if you did do negative b over 2a, you would have used the beginning example, and you would have done -6 over 2 times 1, and you would have got -3, just like we did. And then you would have plugged it in to get the -1. Let's try this 2 more times. Follow your steps from above. Step 1, move your constants so you have some more room. X squared plus 4x, leave a blank, plus 10, leave a blank. Step 2, take half of your middle term. Okay, so that's going to be 4 over 2, and that will equal 2. Step 3, square that answer you just got, so you get a 4. Step 4, you're going to add it to 4x. See, I added it. And you're going to subtract it from the 10. And that's what filled in these blanks. Step 5, you're going to factor. So you're going to get y equals, now these 3 items factored are x plus 2, the quantity squared, and these 2 items put together, plus 6. Therefore, your vertex is pretty easy to see now because it's in vertex form. -2, +6. Part B. Okay, step 1, leave a blank. X squared plus 12x blank plus 34 blank. Step 2, 1/2 of 12 is 12 over 2, which is 6. Step 3, 6 squared is 36. Step 4, y equals x squared plus 12x. Now this is where you do that, the extra stuff. You get the plus 36, and then don't forget you had 34, but then to keep the balance, you have to do minus 36. Okay, step 5, y equals, break these 3 things down, x plus 6 quantity squared, put these 2 things together, minus 2. Now you're ready for your vertex. Your vertex is Opposite of this, so negative 6, and what you see here, negative 2. Now, what you should probably notice is that in all of the previous problems, the coefficient of x squared was 1. So all you saw was x squared. You never saw 5x squared. You never saw anything like that. Now you have to learn what to do if your coefficient is not 1. Problem 4. You are planning a flower garden consisting of 3 square plots surrounded by a 1-foot border. The total area of the garden and the border is 100 square feet. What is the side length x of each square plot? Now, what we do know is area is 100. And we should also know that that is length times width. Look at your picture up here and let's try to make heads or tails of the length and the width. Let's look at the length. That's this length right here. Well, we know that that length is made up of 3 x's, right? And the additional 1 and 1 makes an additional 2. Now look at the width, or whatever you want to call this one, going up and down. We know that it's made up of an x plus here and here makes 2. So let's rewrite this and say 100 equals the length of 3x and 2 times the width of x plus 2. Now what we always have to do, remember, is set things equal to 0. So I have to multiply over here first. 100 equals 3x squared plus 6x plus 2x plus 4. Now we have to set it equal to 0, so I'm going to take away 100. So I get 0 equals 3x squared plus 8x. I put together my middle two terms. Now when you do minus 100, you get minus 96 here. Now there is no way, you cannot factor this. You can try any way you want, but that is not able to be factored. So what you have to do is complete the square. Okay, so here we go. Step 1, you move your 96 over. And this is going back to the beginning. But notice there is a 3 in front of x squared. This is a new step. If that happens, you have to divide everything by this number. So I have to divide everything by 3. So that makes it, ready? 96 divided by 3 is 32 equals x squared plus 8 over 3x. Okay, now we can continue to move on. Step 3. You take half of your middle term. So you do 1/2 of 8 over 3 equals 8 over 6, which is really 4 over 3, because I reduced. Step 4, you square that. So you get 16 over 9. Step 5, you add this to both sides. So you do 32 plus 16 over 9, and that equals x squared plus 8 over 3x plus 16 over 9. This side gets factored. This side, you need to combine your like terms. You have to know how to work with fractions. 32 plus 16 over 9, I'm going to go up here to step 6, makes 304 over 9. Do not make this a decimal yet. Equals this side squared. Now remember, there's always a step to help you with that, and this time it's from step number 3. It's right after you take half. So this is going to be x plus, from step 3, 4 over 3. step 7. Take the square root of both of these things. So this side is going to be plus or minus the square root of 3 over 4 over 3, because the square root of 9 is 3, equals x plus 4/3. Now in step 8, take away 4/3. So you get negative 4/3 plus and minus the square root of 304 over 3. Put these in your calculator. Negative 4/3 plus the square root of 304 over 3 makes 4.48. And negative 4 over 3 minus the square root of 3 over 4 over 3 is negative 7.15. Now which one of these does not make sense for the box? The negative, right? Because the box can't be negative. You can't have a negative length. So it asked us what the side length of each box was, and we have our answer of 4.48. Now the back problem, I think I would like to do this one with you when you come to class. So just write that on there. Let's do this one when you come into class tomorrow.